We are standing in front of Norwegian Aircraft Museum. My name is Rami Kafarov, Oslo guide, and I am inviting you to visit this masterpiece of Norwegian history. Let's go!
You can reach the museum by public transportation. The shuttle bus or regular one runs from Gardermoen airport. However, the easiest and the most convenient way is by car. It's faster and far more flexible. Keep in mind that the museum is usually open on weekends from noon to 4 p.m. and in my opinion this is kind of too short for such an interesting museum. As soon as you enter, you will find yourself in the section dedicated to Norwegian jet aviation. Here you will see all the key aircraft of the Norwegian Air Forces. For example, one of the museum's latest acquisitions is F-16. This one flew on its own, and after landing it was washed and placed under the roof. I think it's a great example how a museum continues to grow and evolve. Personally, I have a greater love for propeller airplanes. That's why I will continue over there, and I will talk much more about the airplanes. The first one which meets us is a fiberglass replica of Spitfire mounted on the roof. And from this distance, you will never understand that this is just a perfect copy of legendary airplane. The next one is Henkel 111 bomber, which was literally brought here from the fields. Actually not fields, but from Norwegian mountains, where it crashed after a battle in April 1940. It remained there for decades until it was finally restored and placed in the museum. Here you can see the pictures during the restoration process. An interesting fact that aircraft was even made in the plastic model, which you can purchase in museum's shop. This airplane has a unique feature. You come closer, look under the crows, and here you can find bullet holes. The origin is from the final dogfight with the Norwegian fighter in April 1940. Now let's move on to another aircraft, Junkers 52. During the German invasion to Norway in April 1940, about 350 pieces of this airplane were used during the military operation. I am fascinated about crash sites, and here I am resting on the wing of one Junkers 52 which lies in the mountains near Lillehammer. If you like this stuff, I mean the crashed airplanes, contact me and maybe we can go for a tour. As for Museums Junkers, here's the story. In April 1940, the Germans sent 15 aircraft to Narvik. It landed on a frozen lake since there was no suitable runway. But then later the ice melted, the planes sank to the bottom, and remained there until 80s when the museum took an interest in one of them. It was restored with the help of German professionals, and as a fun fact, they got paid by another two lifted airplanes, same Junkers 52. You know that the museum doesn't just display aircraft, they also have various military vehicles. For example, this one, this small truck, has even original paint from the period of time, so it's kind of a real time machine, not just a truck. Another airplane, like a legendary airplane, is Dakota C-47. This airplane flew for the first time in 1930s, and it served in over 100 countries. It's well documented that some of these they still flying, and it's like non-dying airplane. It's like a Beetle, which I was just showing on this picture. You know, but another airplane like this was crashed in near Oslo in 1949. I went there and even make a short documentary, which later I will upload to my YouTube channel. And here we are going on the board of the Hercules. It's a 4-engine transport plane, and look how huge is interior. It looks for me like a real small apartment where you can literally live, but of course this is just kidding. Today the cockpit is open and we will go to see, because I know there is a small guided tour for locals, and you will hear a little bit of Norwegian language.
Jeg vet ikke om du har noe spørsmål da.
Hvor mange år opplæring må du ha for å fly et sånt fly?
Hvor mange
År?
Probably the pilot who is explaining to people about all the buttons. This model is a short steering and have a tragic history about this airplane. The piece is what you see. It's one of the 3 airplanes which crashed here in 10th of May 1945. Just imagine, the Second World War, European part was over, and people, approximately 50, like the soldiers and the pilots, got killed in a tragic crash. Same, if you're interested, we can visit one of those places. This model is Junkers 88, and this aircraft is currently undergoing restoration in a museum's hangar. It was recovered from the depth of 75 meters on the bottom of Norwegian lake, and uniqueness that out of all production, few thousand which was done during Second World War, only 3 remain full restored, and this one will be number 4. And imagine it already was used for film production. This one is complete disaster as example of military bureaucratic foolishness. The Norwegian military purchased it in 1919 for training purposes, and it was just retired after a few years with only 6 hours of flight and restored for future generations. And this airplane nickname start because from this aircraft starts Norwegian Royal Air Forces. It flew for the first time in 1912. And this one is a 2-seat biplane, British produced, and they flew from 1970 until 1920s. And exactly this piece was flying 111 hours. And the purpose for this airplane was a night bomber, fighter, trainer, coastal patrol aircraft, and it was produced under license in Norway. And as far as I know, not only in Norway. Here we're now on the 2nd floor, and here you can find a lot of small airplanes and of course the beautiful view on the ground floor with the airplanes which I just was showing to you. Like a jet aircraft section and Henkel, Junkers, and of course Dakota airplane. From this angle you can make perfect pictures. This is a wartime poster from a Canadian military base called Little Norway, where Norwegian pilots were trained during World War II. And these 2 airplanes, this one and the next one, were used during that time for training purposes. Rest of the floor showing other small pieces like small airplanes and even helicopters, but we don't go there. And bottom line, museum shop, these all possible models fit to any budget. As a conclusion, I tell you I like this museum a lot. I come here quite often, and I hope you like it too. So it was Rami Kafarov, your Oslo guide, and as farewell, We can look again on airplanes which landing or flying away for their new destinations. All the best from Norway. Goodbye.